Have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. Don't sit down. Have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. Don't sit down. Have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. Don't sit down. Have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. Don't sit down. Have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. Don't sit down. Have a good time.
What is going on? How y'all doing out there today? This is Sunday, March 2nd. It is Uncle Steve here at Uncle Steve's Lounge. Thank you for joining us here on the Sunday Chill as we go through another edition on the Uncle Steve's Lounge channel here on YouTube. Also streaming live on Facebook Live. Appreciate y'all joining me today. I really just trying to catch up with everybody. It's been a minute since we've been on, and not a lot is going on since. You talked a little bit about some of the off-season possibilities for the Atlanta Falcons. If you want to talk about that, that's cool. We can do that too. Talk a little bit about sports coming on. The Atlanta Braves getting ready to pop it off here for 2025. What do they have in store for us this year? We could talk that. We could talk Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks play tomorrow. They play the Grizzlies. They've been kind of up and down and up, depending on how you look at it. Of course, without Jalen Johnson, it's not a whole lot they can do, but at least try to finish strong for the year. But we have that we can talk about. We could talk about music. I know we've had a lot of after stuff from the Grammys still going on, still, believe it or not. Drake just debuted last week at #1 with his album with Party Next Door. So really, who is the king of rap music at this time? Had the unfortunate passing yesterday morning. I heard the news about Angie Stone. I was trying to describe, and I was talking to my kids, and I was trying to kind of put her in a category. A definitely unique voice. Lived here in the Atlanta area, and just unfortunately, just a beautiful soul loss. But Angie Stone passed away yesterday in an unfortunate car accident. I just, something about Lover's Ghetto, like when I hear it, and obviously she's had plenty of things out there, but something about hearing that song and just hear how smoothly she puts that, just almost like a jazz-ish type over that beat and over that music. It just always gets me. And being a Stevie Wonder fan, she did they had an album, they had a tribute album maybe about, I don't know, about 10, 15 years ago, and she redid one of Stevie's songs called You Will Know, and she just did an excellent job on that. But just blessings to her and prayers out to her family for all of that. And then whatever you want to talk about. I mean, obviously we circle our attention around to the combine. I think I've said this on several occasions before. As a fan, and I don't claim to be a prognosticator. I don't claim to be a scouting guru. I don't claim to be a college football talent looker. I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. So from my standpoint, it's always fun to go look at the little combines and run the 40s and all of that jazz and stuff like that. That's cool. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to get some better players in here for the Atlanta Falcons. That's the goal. That's what I'm looking for. It's fun to see the 40s. It's fun to see the little young man open his mouth too much. The guy from Texas saying he was going to be he was going to break Xavier Worthy's record that he just set last year. And he went out there. And don't get me wrong, I can't run 4.39. But when you come up with that much bravado, it's just interesting. Also, while we're talking about anything, Shedeur Sanders versus Cam Ward. That's starting to become a little bit of a, I wonder who they're liking better. It seems like so far, it looks like a lot of folks are leaning towards Cam Ward. Now, I saw a lot more of Shedeur Sanders. You couldn't help it because ESPN just jumped on the wagon and rode anything Prime was selling. But when you look at that, I kind of thought ahead of time that Shedeur was more ready for the NFL, and I still think he's going to succeed wherever he's going. I just think he does have a little bit of like just calm to me that I think is going to do him well when he gets to the NFL. Just as long as he gets in the right situation, hopefully with the right OC. But a lot of folks are kind of thinking Cam Ward. Then all of a sudden, here it comes out of the woodworks. I told people this time and time again. Hey, it's only going to be 2 quarterbacks picked in the first round. Guess what? All of a sudden, Jackson Dart. And with so many teams out there needing quarterbacks, don't be surprised if Jackson Dart ends up being a number 1 pick. I said number 1 pick, but a first round pick, I should say, in this draft. And I like him. He has a nice game. Ask Georgia. He has a really nice game. But just amazing how what a couple of days will do to change your mind about things. So again, anything you guys want to talk about, guys and girls want to talk about, but Falcons, whether it's just sports in general, if you want to talk music, if you want to talk entertainment, the floor is yours. So just let me know again. If you could just do me one favor as you come in. If you come into Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube, thanks for visiting us. You can subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and make sure you like the video. We appreciate that. Appreciate folks stopping by. If you're on Facebook, hit that click that little like button for me. I appreciate that too. Lets people know we're here and we're in town. I appreciate everyone joining us. We're gonna go straight over to the chat where we have our buddy Dondre in the house. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Dondre says Debo to the Commanders is shocking. Shocking? I'm not sure. Debo was probably going to be out of there one way or another because they're going to have to make some room for money for what looks like they are seriously negotiating Brock Purdy to come back. I was a little surprised about that. But not so much a shock. Debo's been hurt the last couple of years. He wasn't the Debo of the last of 22. And he's been injured, often injured. So when you play a lot of money to these star players and these star receivers, which is kind of an interesting thing because Debo kind of falls into that, he's not a running back. But I know last year when they ran into problems where they didn't have anybody back there running the ball, he had to pick up the pace on that. So no, it's not that shocking that they got rid of that $21 million albatross of a contract and went over there. San Francisco just had to take a little bit of dead money on their head. I think they'll be fine when you look at it, but not exactly shocking. Fifth round pick, folks. That's just what it is these days. It is. Carrie, how are you? Good to see you out there. Appreciate you joining us here on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Carrie is usually on with One Time for the Fan with my brother Jack Spade and T Wheel, and T Wheel is for ATL. I watch them all the time. T Wheel's on in the morning. Carrie is joining them, and we always pay attention to you all out there. Carrie, appreciate you joining us. I cannot wait to see what you think about this upcoming draft as it comes up. That's the Vlash is in here too. What is up? Uncle Steve, good to see you, brother. Good to see you and good to be seen. I'm telling you, it's been an interesting couple of months, man. I've you deal with things outside of sports and outside of entertainment land, and life has just been kind of moving. So I haven't had an opportunity to come on. I wanted to come on just on this Sunday, just talk a little bit, see what everybody's doing. And I appreciate y'all. See as y'all coming in. Appreciate y'all again as y'all come in. Please hit that like button for me. I appreciate you. Hello. What's going on? Long time, but who has climbed your defensive board and who has disappeared? All right. Queen Stone. Absolutely, man. I like I said, I can, as soon as I heard about her, again, my favorite song is Lover's Ghetto. She actually did a really what's my buddy's name? Rashad Patterson, is that his name? More than a woman to me. That song right there, and she does a nice little give and take with him. I love it. Love it. And yeah, shout out to her. As far as defense board is concerned, y'all forgive me. I know I keep hearing the thing about Mike Green, and I think my buyer beware thing about him is I don't want this to be one of those Jadeveon Clowney-ish type situations where we fall in love with a viral moment. And I say that respectfully. I don't think I think Mike Green is a good prospect, but nobody was talking about Mike Green before the little moment where you pushed the guy over in the East-West Shrine game practice. And I say nobody. I'm sure hardcore college watchers and people who knew his journey from Virginia to Marshall, I'm sure you have some of them. But at the same time, sometimes it scares me when I see folks kind of come out of nowhere. So forgive me if I'm not as, with him. I would love to see the Falcons get one of the Georgia guys. And really, it wouldn't matter which of them they get. I don't think either one of them are going to be there. But Javon Walker would be a nice piece to have in the linebacker core for us. Michael Williams, again, him of the 60% this past season, he's worse than Kirk Cousins, telling on Georgia about his injuries. And really Malachi starts. And I'll tell you what, that's the guy. And I know we have Helms, the 6th round wonder kid from Alabama. I get it. But man, I would love to see Malachi Starks get an opportunity to come here. I know him and Jesse kind of play a little bit of the same position, but I think you could work it out either way. I do. Dondre says Terry is on is 1 clock with job with this draft. I guess he meant on the clock with his job on this draft, which he is, no doubt. Yeah, Tank lost last night. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wasn't gonna spend money on the fight, but this doesn't shock me. Boxing is at a state right now where you knew this was going to be set up for some type of rematch. And whether Roach was going to win outright, it was going to be some kind of, weak excuse, Tank, oh, I got my hair done yesterday, so some grease got in my eyes. And I'm like, come on, man. Come on. But boxing needs this to keep them $79 pay-per-views in people's face. So, yeah. Miss Barbara Ridley in the house. How you doing, Barbara? I haven't talked to you in a while. I haven't been here in a while, to be honest with you. So you haven't missed much. So I'm glad that you are here with us. Said Jackson Dart was throwing darts. Cam better than Sanders to me. A lot of people think that too. And don't get me wrong, Cam was on a better team, probably had better, I don't want to say athletes. He probably had a better line around him in Miami than Shedeur did. I like Shedur's nature for being a quarterback. He doesn't seem to get rattled. And I think that's the one thing I do like about him. And as much of a beating as he took in Colorado, he kept getting up, kept going back out there. There's something to be said about your availability as a quarterback when you're taking hits like he was taking out in Boulder, because Pops didn't set up the offensive line that great for him. He didn't set him up. Colorado was a offensive line away from probably being a playoff team last year, in my opinion. But I can see how people think, Cam is better. It's right there, 1 and 2. I just drunk this drink. I'm sorry. It says, sad about Andrew Stone. Yeah, love no more rain. Yeah, in these clouds. Life is so precious. Try to live every day because it might be your last. It's so weird because I think we were talking about that at church today, about not knowing what your not knowing when you're going to be called. And I'm sure as she was doing that show yesterday, or not yesterday, Friday night, it was just another routine drive back to Atlanta and do what you do. And unfortunately, God has other plans. And who are we to question? But it is super tragic, though. She's way too young at 62. Way too young. Fast. Coolidge Dre is in the house. What's going on? Let's go Falcons. I am ready. Barbara says missing football. Long 5 months. It's funny. I have this for anybody. I was talking about church today. So it's one of those things where we have the best pastor in the world, Pastor T. Lynn Oliver at New Testament Gospel. We're in Rex, Georgia. So I'm putting all my heart and soul into these off-season months because she knows that come football season, look, don't get me wrong, I love the Lord, but the Falcons, them Sundays are kind of questionable sometimes. So yeah, these 5 months is something else. And I'll tell you this, Barbara, I am a basketball playoffs. I like the playoffs in basketball, just like college, the college tournament. I like that. Really, aside of that, baseball is cool. It will keep my attention for a little bit, but I'm not sure if I have the to keep it up for as long as 162 games is a long season. And it's almost like soccer. Atlanta United just started up, and they just started in February. They're not going to end this season until middle of the football season. That's a long season. I know they have things where the Copa Cup and all those things that could be taken off for. I get it. But, geez, it's a long time. Long time. Ron Smith, what's going on, brother? Powerful Sunday to you. Barbara says, not sure why the Falcons can't draft good edges or they can't develop them. We need the Eagles GM. Oh, man. Said, what do you think they're going to do with Kyle and Kirk? I said it the other way, Kyle and Kirk. So here's what I think is going to happen. First, as far as the Falcons drafting good edges, I hope that this year it seems like the emphasis is going to be on defense. Sure, everyone's heard by now. They've sent the contingency up there. They're majority interviewing defensive players. There was a story came out that one of the offensive coaches did go out there and they did interview a couple of folks like that. But yeah, the Eagles GM, he's done a great job. He's done a better job than anybody right now except Kansas City's folks. So I give him a lot of credit. That doesn't mean the Falcons still can't upset somebody. Listen, that aside of AJ Brown, AJ Brown. AJ Brown. Aside of AJ Brown, we beat that same Philadelphia team this year with everybody they had in the Super Bowl. And I still think that the NFC is still a better road for the Falcons to take than the AFC. I look at if you look at the quarterbacks, I think Jalen Hurts should start getting some respect now that he's a Super Bowl winner. But I'm not here to tell you Jalen Hurts can't be outplayed by Jaden Daniels, can't be outplayed by Jordan Love, can't be outplayed by Michael Penix Jr. I think the NFC, you see these young quarterbacks finally getting ready to grow, as opposed to the AFC where you have the mainstays who are pretty much in their prime, the Mahomes, the Allens, the Jacksons, the Burrows, all of those guys, late 20s, early 30s, and they're not going anywhere in the AFC. I think Atlanta is still in a position in the NFC South especially, where, look, Raheem will be the first person to probably tell you he made some bad decisions last year. And he's more determined, I'm sure, than ever to prove to this fan base and everybody around that, hey, I can do this better. So I'm willing to give him a shot, y'all. I'm willing to give him a shot and see what he got on there. So hopefully we can see that. Oh, got our first super chat of the day as my brother Big Low Country Sport. He said, what's going on? Did I do my super chats this week? Let me see what I got. Hold on. Let me see what I got.
I'll always read your super chat. Uncle Steve will read your comment. Talk a lot about this and that. You know we act a fool. Should've known better than to answer that.
Yeah.
Comment I was reading.
That's that.
So we'll always read your super chat.
Yeah, that's the smooth sounds of a not Bigelow singing super chat. Y'all make sure y'all check out my buddy Bigelow Country Sports. He's over there doing his thing on his YouTube channel. What is going on, my brother? Good to see you out there. Y'all make sure y'all check out Bigelow, man. He got another video surprise for you. If you were lovers of his New Orleans video this year, his parody, he got a SZA parody that you guys and gals are gonna love. So make sure y'all go over to Bigelow Country Sports and check that out. If I don't want to blow it, go look for yourself and make sure you're not drinking anything because you're gonna spit it out. Greg Evans in the house. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Good to see you. That's big Miami fan. We have Miami this year. Our home schedule is pretty good. And I say schedule, but our opponents are pretty good this year. If you look at it, I know we played the AFC East this year, but I mention it because my buddy Craig is a big Miami fan. We have at home this year, we have obviously the NFC South, and then we have the Rams coming in. We have the Seahawks coming in. We have the Buffalo Bills coming in. We have the Miami Dolphins coming in. And then we have the rematch of the young gun quarterbacks of the Washington Commanders come in. So it's going to be a really good schedule this year. And in the away schedule, quite honestly, I don't want to go too crazy because I know it is what it is. I don't want to start predicting stuff, not knowing what teams have. But aside of the division foes, we go to Arizona, we go to Frisco, we go to New England, we go to the Jets, Minnesota, and then at Indianapolis. So it's going to be a really good schedule this year. Can't wait to see those. Wait to see that game with Miami and see what they do in here. But Brother Chuck is in the house. What's going on, man? What's up, Steve? Just getting in. What's the subject? And who do you think we'll go with? I really like Abdul Carter. I love him too. It's just a shame that we're probably not going to be in a position to go up and get him. I was listening to people in fantasy land start talking about trading up, trading your next year's pick for him and all that. Don't get me wrong, man. I love the talent, but you know what I'm more concerned about, y'all? Bringing talent in here and having coaches that can coach them up. That, to me, that's most important. What they're doing up in Philly, people have a very short memory. If you remember last year at the end of the year, the Philadelphia Eagles, I say last year, 2023 regular season, Philadelphia Eagles stumbled into the last few games. Their defense was atrocious with the same Georgia Bulldogs that were on that team at the end of the year. But you know what they did? They fired the two coordinators. They brought in Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio changed that whole thing they were doing and took those same young players, those same, as if I'm stealing from my brother Big Low, them Thundercats, and turned them into probably what will be a really good defense for the next couple of years. So as much as I love the splash of the name Abdul Carter, get me 5-star stock players and bring me a coach that can coach them up. Is that Jeff Ulbrich? I don't know. I hope so. He seems like he could be that guy. But bring him in and let's see what we can do with that. Hopefully we can make some hay with these players. As y'all coming in, make sure y'all hit the like button for your unk. I appreciate it. Whether you're on Facebook Live or YouTube, I sure appreciate it. Thank y'all for joining me here on the Sunday Chill. Chuck was saying what we were talking about. Not only are we talking about Falcons, we're talking about sports in general, Atlanta local sports. You could talk about, we were talking about the trade a few minutes ago with Deebo Samuels to the Commanders. We're talking about music, the unfortunate passing of Angie Stone in her accident. Other things still lingering off of Drake versus Kendrick, which is funny to me that I still hear stuff out there, but you know, it's all good. 330 is in the house. What's going on, 330? How you doing? Uncle Steve's laughing. He's trying to sing it for me. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you, man. Shout out Blake Pace again for that wonderful intro to the show. I appreciate that. Philip says, I would draft best edge at 15, then the best fastest cornerback at 46. What do you do at first and second? I'm with you as far as the edge, as far as who's the best there. I'm a little concerned. Everybody's been talking about my buddy Stewart. What's his name? Shamar Stewart? Is that the guy from Texas A&M? And, you know, he did a great job with all of the intangibles, the jumping, the running, and Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M. And it goes back to that same thing I was talking about. I'm glad. I hope you are a physical specimen. You need to be in the NFL. But then I looked at his numbers, y'all. He didn't really sack the quarterback a lot. We need somebody. That's why probably the Mike Greens of the world seem to be a little bit more attractive, because at least he has some experience sacking the quarterback, albeit at Marshall. I know he handled the guy from Ohio State. I know that, but people don't throw that in there. But at least he's had some experience getting the sacks. You could be a great physical specimen and still not be able to do what the Falcons need you to do. Falcons need a bona fide edge rushing sack machine. Bottom line, that's what we need. And I was about to say the bottom line almost in Stone Cold. I got to throw this wrestling thing out here. John Cena turning yesterday, y'all. I say we're talking about anything. John Cena turning heel yesterday at the Elimination Chamber. For those wrestling fans out there, and I know y'all are. John Cena, finally. I chastised John Cena for years and years and years. Probably more just playfully, of course. But to see him finally turn, it'll be interesting to see the scenario, what happens, what they end up doing in WrestleMania. I have an idea, but yeah. And second, as far as the second round, Philip, I think I'm going to go like you said, probably you got to find a dance partner for AJ back there in the back. But I'm going to tell you what, though, Philip, if you have the money and it's cheap and he's not trying to outpace you, I bring Mike Hughes back. Still draft a rookie, but I bring Mike Hughes back. Mike Hughes did a decent job when he was healthy. And just bring him back just to kind of sit in the position for a minute. John Higgins, what's going on, brother? Good to see you in the house. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. T-Wheel. I talked about T-Wheel just a few minutes ago in the house. Always doing this thing. Y'all check T-Wheel out for my ATL. He talks Falcons. He talks sport. He talks United. He talks Braves. He talks whatever you want to talk about. T-Wheel got you. I watch him all the time. So make sure you watch him. I know he's on in the morning, and I also know he's on with the ever so popular Jack Spade. And I tell you what, I can't wait to get in front of the line of Jack. Let me tell you what Jack Spade, man. Every time I go to a away game, he always lurking. But I'm always one step ahead of him. Because while I'm sitting there having caviar and wine up there in the front, he's out there starting fights up there in the 500 sections in Philadelphia. So I don't know. So this year, I guess we'll have to do that for San Francisco. I don't know. So we'll battle that out. We'll see if I can get in line before him. Shout out to Jack and the folks over at One Time for the Fan, him, Kerry, and T-Wheel doing that thing. Keith Simmons, what's going on, Keith? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us on Uncle Steve's Round. John Higgins says, go all in on defense this year. I think, with 5 picks, you probably need to. You probably do. No doubt. Barbara says, why do we keep playing the same teams? Well, the way we keep, I'm going to tell you what it is, honestly. We keep finishing in this division in second place. Now, I know what was the difference? Were we last year? No, we were third. So we're either second or third. So if you get perennial people who keep finishing in second and third in the NFC, and I'm sure you're talking about Washington and Minnesota, they keep finishing in second and third place, and we keep finishing in second and third place. So we play those second and third place teams. Now, this year, we're doing the NFC West, so it wouldn't matter. We play all of them. But the reason why we play Minnesota and Washington is because Washington finished second to Philadelphia in the East, and Minnesota finished second to Detroit in the North. That's why. Keith says, I think Terry is going to surprise some people in free agency and with the draft. Ulbrich is going to get us average, and Zach will get us to the top 5. I don't have any doubt that Terry Fontenot, I'm not as, I know that I'm as upset about this season as anybody. And I realize sometimes that at the end, when you see how close, I think it was a little more irritating this year because we were that close. The last few years, the 7-9s, the 7-10s, and stuff like that, we really weren't. I mean, we were, but we really weren't as close as we were. You saw the emergence of Bijan Robinson, the third highest yardage running back in the NFL this year. You saw the emergence of Drake London taking that step into what I think is the tier below the top tier of wide receivers. You saw, despite some lackadaisical play sometimes, you saw what Kyle Pitts could do on some throws and some catches he made this year. Let's not pretend he didn't catch a couple of touchdowns. And, of course, you also saw, in my opinion, the most athletically talented quarterback we've had since 2007. And put that combination together, I think that's what let us down. That's why we were so angry at the end of the year last year. And Terry and Raheem, yes, they do shoulder a lot of this blame. However, the dust has settled. The season is over. Everybody except Philadelphia is not celebrating. So now we go back into the lab and we give Terry another chance and we give Raheem another chance. I don't think it's a secret in the NFL, and especially here in the Falcons fan base. This is probably Terry's last go round if they don't make the playoffs. And it's probably Raheem's last go round, in my opinion. I do think they would pull the hook on him in 2 years if he doesn't have this team winning with the abundance of talent that you're surrounding this team with. So yeah, I think they're gonna do a much better job. Demetrius is in the house. What's going on, DJ? What is up, brother? Good to see you in the house. Appreciate y'all coming in. Antonio James is in here. What is up, sir? He said, how about Raheem Morris being ranked number 2 coach by NFLPA, voted by players, with Falcons players saying he is highly receptive to feedback? Listen, the only people that have been on Raheem have been the fans, quite honestly. The players have not, said a lot. Now, did the players probably in that Washington game scratch their head and say, come on, coach, need you to call that timeout, bruh. Come on, man. Michael Penix slinging that thing. Give him another chance. I'm sure. But this isn't a shot to me. I think we knew Raheem was a player favorite this year, and who knows? Kind of what Keith was saying with Terry and free agency. He might end up pulling a couple of people because of that. So yeah, that really didn't shock me. And Arthur Blank being voted as one of the 3 owners with an A+ rating too. That didn't shock me. Chuck said, what do you think of BG coming to the Dream? I think this is the best roster we've had, at least on paper. It's championship or bust for me. Well, it's talking about Brittany Griner, and I'm going to tell you what. From the Dream standpoint, if you look at Ryan Howard, Alicia Gray, and Brittany Griner, starting right there, it's hard to find a big 3 that's, I don't know. I know they're doing some stuff down there. I know DeWanna Bonner went to Indiana. So along with Caitlin Clark, and what's my little sister's name who just re-upped with him, the one who's scoring all the points. My mind is slipping. But yeah, I do think the Dream have a really good shot, and they made the playoffs already last year, but I think they have a chance to be competitive for a championship. If you put a 7-foot person, I don't even know what she is, 6'10", 6'11", whatever she is, one of the tallest persons in the WNBA. You put her in that middle. No disrespect to Tina Charles, who did a great job for us last year. Automatic, those layups aren't getting in there like they were before. So I do think that's a great move. DJ says, do we take Green at 15 or someone else as an edge rusher? Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I like Green. I'm just a buyer beware of Green. I'm just really hoping we can get Javon Walker in here. I really do. I really Jalen Walker. I'm sorry, Javon. I keep calling him Javon. Jalen Walker. I'm hoping we can get him in here. That, to me, I think making that linebacker core younger, more athletic is really going to be something to watch. DJ also says heel Cena is about to cook in 2025. I honestly think this is his. I think you might see. I have a scenario, and I'm going to save it probably for later. This is what no, I'm not. I think what you're going to see, there's no way that they're going to let Cena win WrestleMania. I don't think they can. I think now you've made Cody Rhodes the ultimate babyface, and I don't think, knowing that Cena and this is his last run, I think giving him the top main event spot at WrestleMania, which it will be, Cody Rhodes against John Cena, is gonna be the apex of the going away tour. You probably will see John Cena disappear. Then he'll show up near the end of the year in something like Night of the Champions, or what do they do after SummerSlam? Whatever they do after SummerSlam, and you'll see. Or he might come back for SummerSlam, like after WrestleMania. Then SummerSlam, he comes in, redeems his good guy role, babyface role, or something like that. But I think this heel turn is going to happen just long enough to get to WrestleMania and lose, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to take it that much further. David Starks is in the house. What's up, Dave? What's up, Steve Samuels to the Commanders, and they're also looking to move Ayuk. Could San Francisco start a panic for teams behind us looking for receivers and maybe look to get our spot for extra picks? That could be something to look for. I mean, I don't know why you would get rid of Samuel and Ayuk, and then you call yourself getting ready to pay Purdy. To me, that seems like it's a little bit defeating the purpose, because you leaving the cupboard pretty bare. I know you got George Kittle, but I don't know. You got McCaffrey. I mean, if McCaffrey comes back, I don't know. I'm not trying to say he won't, but we'll see. Dude already says Siobhan Revel Jr., cornerback from ECU, late round gem. Okay, we'll take that. DJ says, I thought about going to WrestleMania this year, but the ticket prices are ridiculous, so I'm going to save up to go to WrestleMania next year. Awesome. Yeah, WrestleMania, man. Back in my day when I was really, really into wrestling, I probably would have put down somebody. We went to the last live thing I went to, and this is going to take you back. We went to a Starrcade, and that was when Starrcade was just coming out. We saw the Road Warriors versus the Midnight Express on the scaffold when Paul Ellering still had the Road Warriors, and Jim Cornette was the Midnight Express, and they all got up on the scaffold, and the only person that fell was Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette went up to the top of the scaffold, fell down on the ground. I think they got some film of that somewhere, but yeah, that was the last live wrestling I went to, and that was sometime in the 80s, but it was really good and it was fun. I think Nikita, that was when Nikita I want to say Nikita had Magnum TA got hurt, and then Nikita turned babyface and stuff like that. So there was, that's aging you, I'm sure. Go look it up on YouTube. It's on there. What's up, Carlo? How you doing, brother? Good to see you in the house. Appreciate. Philip says Tank Roach draw was a surprise. I think it was a surprise, but again, I didn't say, I don't know whether you were here earlier or not. I think boxing to me has been so inconsistent as far as some of the judging cards. I think Roach, judging by what I'm reading and some of the highlights and clips that I've seen, it does seem like Roach had him, and then the last couple of rounds, Tank tried to come back a little bit. I am not a fan of the not calling that a knockdown when the stuff got in his eyes. I don't like that. That's your fault if you're that's on her. I'm sorry that you don't get a pass for that. So I'm not a big believer in the excuse of the grease. So I don't know. Ray Ellison, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Hope y'all are doing well on a Sunday. He said, I might try to go to Money in the Bank this year or SummerSlam. I don't know within the next couple of months. Brother, if you do, please let us know and keep us in. So we can see what's going on. David says, I want to see medical reports from Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame. He was projected first round before the injuries. Yeah, especially if you know he might not have a chance to play. Yeah, those doctors are probably getting more workouts than the people who time in the 40s. No doubt. DJ says we got the Commanders got a dangerous weapon in Deebo Samuels. They do. I mean, and Terry McLaurin is that's gonna help him out a lot. Finally get you somebody help. Not that Johan Dotson wasn't a decent person to go along with him, but absolutely. Jay Black says we just needed one more win after getting to 6-3, just one, and we in there. And that's the disappointing part about it, because you think about those 4-game stretches, and now you think about Tell It All Kurt letting us know he was hurt, which I think was still one of the more selfish moves you could make, knowing that you're hurt. And I'm not talking about playing through something, but if you're going to tell us that you're hurt and that was holding you back, and I go back to that 4-game losing streak, I'm like, well, brother, then let the young kid come in here. That one win you talking about, Jay Black, I think Penix could have beat New Orleans. Matter of fact, I know he would have beat New Orleans. I know he would have beat the Chargers. I'm not sure about Denver and Minnesota, but I know he would have beat the other two teams. And to your point, one game more, we in. Barbara says you forgot to. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You forgot to say what I do about Kirk. Okay, this is what you do in the world of Uncle Steve. This is what you do with Kirk Cousins. You attempt your best. The NFL season, the little tampering period, that's this time next Monday, I believe, the 10th. Yeah, next Monday is the tampering period. Until that day, you try your best. If you're Terry, you like, I love Kurt. I love Kurt. He's the best quarterback ever. He wasn't hurt. He's hurt. Now he's completely healthy. His Achilles is healed. Hallelujah. He can do whatever he can do. And you try to pump him up as much as you can. And you go find a team like Cleveland, Tennessee. Tennessee not going to do it because they got no more pick. They can do whatever they want to. The Vegas Giants, and find anybody that's trying to find a good bridge quarterback. If you don't get that done by this time next week, 1 week from this week, we will see Kirk Cousins gone. Kirk Cousins will get cut. We will take a gigantic hit. They'll probably designate it for June 1st so they can spread it out. But as far as Kirk's concerned, that's what you do. Kyle Pitts, Barbara, I just think you go ahead and get. I'm not waiting another year to see if if Kyle Pitts is going to live up to the number 4 pick in the draft. I think some team will take him, and you see if you can get at least a 4th, maybe. You're not going to get a 2nd. You can get a 4th, and if things all fine, if things all fall in place and the stars align, maybe you can get a 3rd. But I think he's in that 4th, 5th category. But guess what? We need draft picks, and we lose that $10 million salary that he has. I don't think it's a big loss. I think you could find a tight end, a free agent tight end. We don't need Tony Gonzalez. We don't need George Kittle, or that you just need a competent tight end. We have a blocking tight end. Just get somebody who can catch the ball. And as far as Koo is concerned, Koo's number this year, and I'm looking on here as I had the number on here. Younghoe Koo is the 14th highest player on this roster. Younghoe Koo is due $5 million this year. You tell Younghoe to kick rocks, and you save I think it's $2 million. I think you still got to take a little bit of a hit. But yeah, you only take a $2.5 million hit. So you only take a $2.5 million dead cap hit. But I think you let them go. 2.5 this year and 1.25 next year. So I apologize. You did ask me that earlier. I'm sorry. But that's what I would do with those 3. Dimitri says, if we get a cornerback, I would like for us to consider looking at Will Johnson out of Michigan. But he'll most likely get snatched up. Yeah, Will. I think Will is I think they have him. Let's see. I'm looking at the moment. I'm looking at NFL. What did they have him? I saw him on the list. Yeah, actually, it's funny. One of the guys, Bucky Brooks, actually has the Falcons taking Will Johnson. I think you go edge rusher first, to be honest with you, though. Dimitri says, speaking of the Atlanta Dream, I plan to on going to some of their games when the WNBA season starts. Absolutely. Absolutely. Bigelow says, think we get a Georgia player this year? I hope we do. I'm hoping, and I think I said it right before you maybe popped in, Lo. I would not mind getting either Jalen Walker, Malachi Starks, or Michael Williams. Neither we could use every last one of them. But my secret hope is that Malachi Starks falls down. Yeah, I know I just contradicted myself saying we do need an edge rusher, but I'm trying to tell you, man, if you get a really good safety, see Jesse Bates. If you get a really good safety, and now we get a young, versatile safety that, to me, in my opinion, was one of the best secondary players in the league. Didn't he win one of the best quarterback in college? A secondary player? I think he did. I would love to get him. But yeah, I would get either one of those guys, to be honest with you. Trevor Etienne, I saw him do some good things. I'm not going that route, but I would love to get either of those 3 guys. Charles says Brittany Griner is 6'9". Okay, with Jordan. Yeah, I forgot about Jordan too. Yeah, because this is the first year, Jordan was hurt 2 years ago. But now, I mean, she's really good. Yeah, she's a great point. And adding her to that. Yeah, that is basically a big 4. She is. She penetrates like nobody else. Keith says, Jahad Campbell gives me Michael Parsons vibes. I'm cool with that. That'll work. DJ says Uncle Steve as a writer on WWE's writing team. I can see it. You pitched some good, reasonable scenarios. I appreciate it, man. I'm trying. Sometimes, you know, when you've been watching this as long as I have, and I used to have a buddy in school whose mom worked down at the TV center where they used to do the Georgia Championship Wrestling. And I think that was right before they changed to, they had just changed it to TBS. It wasn't WCW then, it was Georgia Championship Wrestling. And then they changed it later on. But early Saturday morning, they used to show the shows at 6 that evening, but they taped them early Saturday morning. Abdullah the Butcher, Tommy Rich, all them cats used to be down there, and I got a chance to see a couple of those a couple of times. Timothy, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate y'all joining me, man. A little bit crowded up in here. I thank y'all. Thank you for joining me. Again, if you just come in on YouTube, Facebook, make sure you hit that like button for me. I really appreciate it, whether you're on Facebook Live or you're on Uncle Steve's Lounge. If you're on Uncle Steve's Lounge and have not subscribed, why not? Please subscribe. Barbara says, used to love wrestling when it was Tommy Wi-Fi Rich and Buzz Sawyer. Yes, Dusty Rhodes. They were better actors back then. Used to love Roddy Piper. Yeah, today, Barbara, they've kind of opened the curtain a lot. When we were younger, obviously the wrestling, is it fake? Is it stage? Oh, they're really fighting and stuff like that. And now, they're letting us in. It's almost like a magician showing us what's going on behind the stage. And I think it takes away from it, to me, a little bit when you tell too much. I was watching some of the Elimination Chamber yesterday, and I looked at the end, and I'm saying, okay, Rock, I understand, it's big, but in the press conference, he's basically, yeah, when we told John we were going to do it. I'm like, okay, you leave us a little bit of fantasy. Leave us a little bit of, Jade Carnegie yesterday came out, and the sneak attack on Naomi. I thought that was hilarious to me, but I kind of figured they were going to do that. Jade's got to be a heel, man. I see somewhere where Jade and Bianca are going to eventually go at it, but you can't waste Jade as a baby face. That they probably did that just to bring her in and stuff. But yeah, I was old school wrestling with you back then. Absolutely. William Amy in the house. What's going on, William? How you doing, sir? We keep talking about last season. It's a new season. Absolutely. I hear you. Henry's in the house with us too, man. What's going on, Henry? Happy Sunday. Hope you all have a blessed one. Appreciate y'all. Dexter Flash says, which would you trade, Tyler or Kyle? Sentimentally, it would be no doubt I would trade Kyle Pitts. I would understand. The only reason right now that I still think the answer to that is Kyle Pitts is because the value of a running back is not near what it is probably for a pass catching tight end. All the lackadaisical stuff aside, you can't teach that height and that physical specimen that Kyle is. And there's always going to be another coach on another team that says, I can do something with that. I can do something with him. And I think that's going to be the case when you talk about Kyle Pitts. Tyler, I talked about it earlier this year about trading him. The more and more I keep hearing Terry Fontenot talk about him and I hear Raheem talking about him, I just don't think they're going to get rid of him. I think it's going to be the Kyle Pitts farewell tour, which for a lot of people, he wasn't here anyway. So You know. William says, "Nah, we need edge rushers. Not gonna happen." Well, I mean, I think edge rushers are obvious what we need. But here's the thing, William. Let's say all those guys that we're talking about, the Shamars, the what's the guy? What's the other guy that everybody's talking about? Abdul Carter. That's what I'm talking about. Abdul Carter, Walker, Williams. Let's say all of them are gone. Are you going to stretch and get somebody just because they're an edge rusher and draft them at 15? Somebody who might be a second round grade and just pull them all the way and say, oh, well, that's the only edge rusher left. Or do you go to the best player available? I don't think you go to the best player available as when you start looking at I don't think you go offensively this year. I do believe whatever we do is going to be defensive. But if all the edge rushers are gone, then hey, it is what it is. Philip says, "I need your jersey plug." Okay, I got you. Billy Mills. Hey, what's going on, Mills? What's going on? How you doing, brother? Say, it's either Mike Green or Pierce Jr. We already been telling Green, don't work out like that. Don't even do a pro day. We gonna draft you regardless. Well, if Mike Green is there, Mike Green might not be there though. I mean, let's not fool ourselves. He might not be there. I hope not. I mean, I hope he is, but he might not be there. Henry, did I say hey to you? What's going on, Henry? I didn't even see you. What's going on, brother? Say hello, Uncle Steve, and Falcons Happy Sunday. Hope you all have a blessed one. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us in the house. And Alan Mike is in the house. What's going on, Alan Mike? He said, hey, Uncle, I guess I'm too late. We'll have a great night. I'm still here, brother. It's not. I'm still here. He said wrestlers in the 80s and 90s was the best. Now it sucks. And again, I think the old school people that watch wrestling, it's harder to watch now because let me make it's entertaining, which I think WWE, which is the best right now, they've said it. We're trying to entertain you. Back when we were there, we just wanted to see two people fight. The only dialogue we wanted to hear was Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, maybe Tom Wildfire Rich because he was real country. I mean, you wanted to hear the managers talk. You wanted to hear J.J. Dillon. You loved to hear Jim Cornette. You wanted to hear Paul Ellering. You wanted to hear Jimmy Mouth of the South. But now, just like everybody has to be a talker. And back in the day, you didn't need that. Let the manager talk. You go do the wrestling. Now, it's just like, I don't know. And like I said, that sounds like old man saying, oh, back in my day. And I'm not trying to go there. That's not what I'm saying. Billy says, after the Attitude Era, just wrestling just got weak like the NBA and NFL. I know what I wanted to talk about, too, since y'all talking about sports today. What do y'all think about the Anthony Edwards of the world? Now, I'm a big fan of and just put this on the list of stuff to talk about. He just got his 16th technical, so he got suspended, I think, Friday or whatever the game was. And, he's kind of gone out of his way to kind of, I don't want to be the face of the NBA, blah, blah, blah. And to me, I don't have a problem with it. We are in a world where you got to make a list. Who's the GOAT? Who's the best? Who's the this? Who's going to be that? Who's the next after LeBron? Who's going to take Patrick Mahomes' spot? Who is the greatest baseball player right now? And sometimes it's just a matter of maybe, Anthony Edwards, I think he just wants to play. Do you think, in your opinion, do y'all think that Anthony Edwards should try to be more of the future of the NBA, or just let him play? I say let him play. I'm not trying to say you have to be a perfect citizen when you play ball. I mean, sometimes, the berating the refs and all that stuff, that gets old after a while to me because it takes away from the game. The Draymond Greens of the world, all that clown act. Sometimes it's like, okay, all right, you can play basketball, so you can go show out, you can punch your teammates, all that stuff. I get it. You're a man. But I don't have anything against the man not wanting to be face of the NBA. Let some of these other guys do it. William says, late rounds, we could get a cornerback, second round, and center, third round. I think they'll pick up a center from somebody. Or I don't think Newsel, they might not have a choice where Newsel has to be the guy. But we'll see. Barbara says, would you trade back to get more picks? If trading back the first round pick could get me 3. So, Barbara, say, for instance, if somebody came up and said, okay, Falcons, somebody from the late 20s wants to come up and take 15. If they give me still a first round pick in the lower, but give me maybe a third and a fifth or a fourth and a fifth, I'd take that. I would take that. I would absolutely entertain that. I think the defensive then that's when you would go back to, I think whoever I was talking to earlier, I don't know whether that was William Amy or not, talking about going to reach for somebody. Then if you're down in the late 20s, then I could kind of say, okay, maybe some of those guys could fall into your lap. So yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat, Barbara, especially if you go, if I give you that and you give me 3 picks. I don't think giving me a first and if you give me a first and a third, maybe, but I think 15 is a pretty high pick to me. You got to juice you for at least 3 picks. Antonio said I would keep Kyle Pitts for the possible contract year bump. Well, see, here's the problem, though. And a lot of people, I've heard people say, of course, if we were to keep Kyle Pitts and didn't re-sign him, we get a compensatory pick for him. Here's what I think, Antonio, right now. The Falcons are already kind of strapped. Yeah, even with the salary cap at the largest it's been ever and taking a meteoric bump as far as the amount of money. I think it's $279 million. The Falcons still are over the cap by about $5 million. Trading Kyle Pitts gets $10 million off your books like that. And I know they're going to do some restructures and stuff like that. Y'all going to hear about it this week. It's got to have – the Falcons have to be under the cap by this time next Monday. So something's going to happen. We haven't even talked about this. Grady Jarrett, David Onyemata, one of those guys or both are going to be cut, restructured, or something like that coming up this year. I really feel that. I think the sentiment is for Grady to stay, but I'm not sure if we're at a position where we can be sentimental, folks. I love me some Grady Jarrett. But if Grady doesn't want to take a pay cut, I can't pay Grady $20 million for what he gave me last year. I can't do it. I'm sorry. And again, you talk about somebody, I really love Grady Jarrett. What he's been here is great. But I gotta go. So if I'm doing that to them, Antonio, I can't have Kyle Pitts over here half-stepping, making $10 million. I can't do it. Henry says you got to keep Algier. Got to have the tandem backs of Algier and Robinson. Pitts needs to go. He still has value if traded. I agree with the other end, but I also would understand if they came and said Tyler was gone, I would get it. Again, the running back position is the most undervalued, probably next to special teams right now. I don't think the value of running back. I think we could pick up a running back that could probably do that. Well, I don't know whether it'd be a rookie or not, but there are running backs. While y'all doing that, I'm gonna look at this while I go to the next thing here. Danny Johnson, what's going on? Danny says, hopefully we can get Landon Jackson, who just jumped out every time I watched Arkansas. Yeah, I saw him right there. He is kind of intriguing. That would be interesting to see if he would be available for us. I'm trying to look for free agents, NFL free agents. NFL free agents, right quick, running back. I'm gonna tell you who these are the running backs right now. And I'm not suggesting that you get a high profile running back, but you got Raheem Mostert. I don't know whether he's gonna try to re-sign with Miami. I doubt it. They kind of acted like they were done with him. Aaron Jones but he's gonna be too much money. Najee Harris is a free agent, but I'm pretty sure Pittsburgh will probably get him back. Jeff Wilson, late of Miami, but one of the heroes of the lost Super Bowl for San Francisco. AJ Dillon, Nick Chubb, who could be a very interesting pickup. Now, again, you would be paying more money than you're paying Tyler right now. Javonte Williams, him of the Denver Broncos. Alexander Madison from the Raiders. He's Amir Abdullah, J.K. Dobbins. There are some guys that you could possibly get to play the Tyler Algier role. I love Tyler Algier. But again, we made some tough decisions. Remember the year 15, and I'm not trying to make us similar, but remember in 15, everybody was ticked off that we got rid of Roddy White, but then we got Muhammad Sanu, and there was, oh no, Roddy was a Falcon. Roddy was Falcon for life, blah, blah, blah. And Roddy was this, and Roddy was that. And then when we went to the Super Bowl, nobody said, Roddy who? By that time. And again, I loved Roddy, but they made the changes. I think this is one of those years you're probably going to have to make some hard changes. Chuck says, I'm not a wrestling fan, but I did like to see Thunderbolt Patterson, Tony Atlas, and Andre the Giant doing their thing. That was really in the 70s. Absolutely. Thunderbolt Patterson got a chance to meet him long time ago. Absolutely. LaToya, what's going on? How you doing? Good to see you here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. That India is trash, man. Don't really see it recovering. Yeah, it's going to take a little while, especially now that you're seeing basically the Europeans coming over here and dominating and pretty much talking about face of the league. They're becoming more of the face of the league. Again, no problem with that, but says NBA has a terrible product now, hard to watch. Hopefully they get it together. I mean, and LaToya, a perfect example is what they tried to sell us at the All-Star game. I mean, I haven't talked about that. That All-Star game was kind of embarrassing. You had a 2.5 to 3 hour program where they took 2 hours and 10, 20 minutes playing around with Ernie, Chuck, Shaq, and Kenny, which I love the team, but I just didn't think that was whatever. And then Kevin Hart, which I'm a okay fan of Kevin Hart, but I just think you played too much. The fan didn't want to see that. Fan wanted to see the NBA All-Stars. Nobody wants to see that. God bless the little dude that made the half-court shot. I didn't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that. Play the game. Stop with the gimmicks. Play the All-Star game. You know what? I know people weren't a fan of the 200 to 189 game, but you know what? At least that's the players out there playing. It wasn't perfect, but I'd rather have that than whatever that was they just showed last week or the week before. I was kind of embarrassing for the product. And yeah, Adam Silver has to go back to work. Bill says he's dealing with the same thing KD was going through. Some guys don't want all the attention just to check, rock, and Lego. Yeah, and I understand that. Yeah, Kevin Durant is probably a perfect example of that. Absolutely. I agree with you. Chuck says the NBA face is underneath a constant microscope. I don't think that young brother wants to deal with the scrutiny. Who does? And you got to remember too, they're dealing with we're in a social media era where, I saw the little young kid. I saw the story of the young kid at, where was he? Notre Dame, where they had the story and some he had missed a couple of shots and whatever, and then you had some grown man sending texts calling them, just off color names and stuff because he didn't get a freaking free throw. And he's probably out there playing in college and getting the education that whoever the idiot was who wrote it probably doesn't have. Obviously, he doesn't have an education writing stuff like he did. And you wonder why some of these guys don't want the attention. I mean, you got some people that are built for it. I think LeBron is built for it. But more power to him. I don't know if his son is built for it. But I think he's built for it. I think he's like, whatever. I'm rich enough where I ain't got to worry about it. Then I'm going to get on here and troll y'all and then still keep it moving. But it is. I think the scrutiny is crazy. Jay Black says Grady needs a new team-friendly contract while getting some bread. I would love if they did something like that. If they did something like that and work with it, I would be good. I would. Barbara says, I say get rid of David, Grady, Kyle to say that way. Well, I'll say this. Grady is a respected guy in the locker. Sometimes that's a big difference. Look, folks, aside of no matter how that season ended with Raheem, them cats in that locker room believed in him. And if you got some of the leaders that are still there that will back him, that's cool. But I'm with you, Barbara. If Grady don't want to, help us out with the money, I mean, what is your agent going to say? I mean, has Grady played, and again, love what he's been for this franchise. Man of the Year nominee this year. Has Grady given us even a Pro Bowl type year over the last couple of seasons? And go back 4 seasons. And let me know. What's up, my man? That's my brother. Joseph Evans in the house. What's going on, man? He said, what's happening, Steve? Every time we pick up a free agent running back, they always lose a step when they play for us. I see Steven Jackson, see Todd Gurley, whatever. Now, and don't get me wrong, Joe. I'm not saying just go get an old, decrepit one. So when you start talking about the Mosterts and now Nick Chubb could be kind of interesting. I know he's, been getting kind of injured and stuff like that. But I mean, maybe bring him home and see what happens. We'll see. Barbara says, cheap and good. He's cheap. He's cheap, but you got to remember, if you can get something even cheaper and maybe be able to get a draft pick from Tyler in the because Tyler's making, if I'm not mistaken, Tyler makes $2 million this year. Let me see. I think he's making $2 million. Let me see what the contract says. Tyler Algier is making not even that, 1.1 million. So you're right. He is kind of cheap. Mike says, but we wouldn't get much back for Tyler at this point, maybe a fifth. Yeah, and that's the only reason I was looking at it, because you say, listen, you do need picks. But yeah, the Tyler Algier trade is not as popular to me as a Kyle Pitts trade. Kyle Pitts trade is a must. Tyler Algier trade, I'm all right. I'm all right with him staying. Billy Mills say, I'm still saying Roddy. T. Terry, what's going on, man? Thank you for this here, Uncle Steve, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. Henry says, wild trade proposals, Pitts and Grady for Max Crosby or Myles Garrett. Now, maybe not. I don't think the money would line up. But hear me out on this one. It won't happen, but hear me out. Myles Garrett still has money on his contract. Kirk Cousins still has money on his contract. Trade Kirk Cousins to Cleveland. It's going to be the same amount of money. We don't have to. I mean, they'll take that $27 million off the books for us. We'll take the $20+ million for Myles Garrett off the books for them. And maybe we'll probably have to throw in a draft pick or two. I wouldn't mind doing that. I think Kyle Pitts and Grady, I mean, they don't need a tight end. And Njoku's still there at Cleveland. I think he's still balling. And I don't think they want to. I think they would look at Grady as over the hill. I don't think Grady is elite like that. If you're going to get something, you got to get something out of the deal. T. Terry says Falcons need a big in the middle. I've always been a proponent, especially when you playing that 3-4, T. Terry. When you playing that 3-4, you got to have some. You got to have one of them big gap stoppers. Them Vita Veas, those cats right there in the middle. And I just feel like when we flex into that, sometimes we just don't have the strength. Not strength, the bulk. And I think that's one of the reasons why we haven't been as successful in that. Antonio says the solution is called demise of USA basketball is highly exaggerated. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Jason Tatum is basically begging to be the face of the NBA. You see how that's working out for him, right? Not very well. DJ said, if I was an athlete, I wouldn't want the attention. Just pay me my money and let me do me. Yeah. Yeah. Barbara says, no, Grady hasn't played on the level of pay he's getting. And that's the only thing I'm saying. It's not a personal shot. So anybody say Uncle Steve hates Grady Jarrett or doesn't like Grady Jarrett, I actually think Grady Jarrett is a solid player. But at this age and at this time, we've got to get younger and we got to get more physical. And it's not personal. It's super not personal. I just this week you're gonna see the Falcons' direction. By this time, let's see, March 2nd. By March 17th or 16th, 2 weeks from now, you're gonna know the direction the Falcons are going. Because again, they have to get under the cap before next Sunday. So we gotta figure that out. John Brooks, man, what's going on, John? How you doing? He said, yo, what's up? What the slow crash by Rock? Cena selling his soul to the Rock and turning heel on Cody. I never thought Cena would turn heel. I've been watching Cena since the Thuganomics era. If you remember, there was a small, teeny, weeny month or two where they kind of had John Cena as a little bit of a heel. But yeah, I still am a believer that you can't carry the John Cena heel all the way. Matter of fact, don't be shocked if after John Cena loses to Cody, and he will, there's no way that they're going to let John Cena beat Cody. This is going to be to make Cody's shine even more. And then they'll go back to Cody Roman. Maybe by the time SummerSlam comes. But that's what I'm thinking. Lisa Shepard in the house. What's going on? How you doing now? Says, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Raheem says no one is untouchable. So we'll see how all that plays out this offseason. And why should they? Lisa, you're absolutely right. I mean, who on this team right now? Y'all put in there if y'all still with me. Put the one player on the Falcons that y'all feel like it's untouchable. The only person right now on the team that's untouchable is Michael Penix. I know there's going to be fight for Bijan, but I tell you what, if the absolute throw this at you. If they told you Cleveland said, hey, we'll take Bijan for Myles Garrett, would you do it? I would. If they told you right now, you know what? Okay, y'all want Myles Garrett? Give us Bijan. I think you got to do it. I think it's easier to find running backs than it is to find great defensive players. And I think Myles Garrett is a great defensive player. Now, again, don't get it twisted. I want Bijan here. But if they ask, I think I'd have to do it. I think I would. I'm trying to get this down here. Henry says, I can't wait to see how Braylon Trice does this upcoming season. I'm a huge Braylon Trice person. I've always, when I saw him at UW, when he was at Washington, I'm trying to tell y'all, this cat is the truth. Now, I'm not saying I think he's going to be what everybody thought Troy Anderson is going to be. Wait and see. I really do. And I like the little young nucleus. I like J.D. Bertrand. I think he's going to be fine. Just got to get another year under his belt. Braylon Trice is going to be nice coming back. Yeah, this is the last year. You got to kind of see what's going on with Troy Anderson. Absolutely. But at the same time, I do feel like Braylon Trice is going to be something special. Millie Mill says, Uncle, if you ask me, it's personal. Hey, Grady, you're gone. Thanks for your service. Man, y'all can't escort the man out like that. Oh, man. Millie said he gonna get rid of him just like that. Golly, man. Y'all are man, oh, man. I hear you, though. But it's not. It actually is not personal. I really do feel like, what Grady gave us as a leader for the last couple of years is great. But yeah, it might be time to move on and do your thing. Speaking of time to move on, y'all have been outstanding today. I appreciate it. This is kind of like a pop-up, didn't plan, but I hadn't talked to everybody in a while, so I wanted to pop in. And I know I usually come in for the Monday minutia, but I'm not sure. I think some personal stuff may not allow me to do that tomorrow. So I just wanted to make sure that I came in and said hello to everybody. Appreciate all the love, man, and everybody with the comments coming in. We got a lot of stuff coming on. I'm definitely gonna be on in the next couple of weeks as we start talking trimming of the roster, as we start talking about possible trades, possible draft moves, and things of that nature. We're going to be all over it here. And don't forget, I'll be here with you for the draft. Me and my buddy Tidy from Atlanta Bird Game doing our annual draft, as we always do. We've had some eye-opening drafts for the last couple of years, and we'll see. This one is kind of in the middle of the road, so we'll probably have another hour or so before we get there. But it should be some interesting things that the Falcons do coming into the year. Everyone have a blessed rest of the Sunday. Have a great week going into next week. Again, I'm your Uncle Steve. If you're here, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Folks, I will catch y'all on the other side. Everyone, take care. Peace.
You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in and Uncle Steve.